Let's jump into setting up these Victron 48 volt multi+2 inverters for split phase operation. Now I've done the bare minimum here. I have them hooked up to 48 volt power. This is fed from one of the SOK rack mount batteries here on the left, and it's just connected for programming sake. I have not connected any of the AC wiring. In today's video, I'm going to show you the communication cables and hooking it up to the computer and the software side of things. This is not a video talking about how to wire them into a panel or anything like that. This is strictly going over the programming, so if you need a video on wiring, we'll put a card in the top corner. Getting started, I have a 3-foot long Cat 5e cable. This one's pretty straightforward. It just connects in the 2 VE bus ports of the inverter. And then I have another one. It is 6 foot long, and I'm just using it for the sake of programming. This can plug into either inverter, and the other end of it plugs into the Victron Interface MK3 to USB dongle here, just like that. And then here on the other end, I have a Type-C cable that I can plug into my computer. Now this is also available with a Type-A USB port. I'll have links in the description to all this stuff. Now, once this is all plugged into the computer, we need to turn on both inverters. I'm going to put them both into position 1 on the switch on the bottom, and you should see the light flashing between inverter on and absorption blinking back and forth on both inverters. If you don't have these lights blinking, that means there's no communication between the two inverters. So for example, if I unplug one of these VE bus cables, both of these inverters should click to inverter on. We don't want this. We want them blinking back and forth, which means there is communication between the two inverters. They're just not configured to communicate with each other. We'll now want to head over to VictronEnergy.com. At the top right, they have a big giant downloads button. You're going to want to click on that. And the first line item here is the VictronConnect software. We're going to want to click on this Windows EXE because I'm using a Windows machine, and it will download. And I'm just going to save this to my downloads folder. With that downloaded, we're going to go ahead and open it up and install it. And if you get a notice asking if you'd like to allow the app to make changes to your device, just click yes. From here, it's asking for a destination to install the software. I usually go with the default, at which point you can just click next. And pretty much just click next through all the menus and then click install. It's going to go through a quick install process, and then after that we are good to go and we can start the VictronConnect app. Now with VictronConnect installed, as soon as you open the application, it should detect the inverters. If it doesn't, just click the refresh button in the bottom right corner. As you can see, it has detected a VE bus device. So from there, we just click on it, and it'll connect to the inverters, and now we should be able to change some settings here. Now that it has connected, VictronConnect has detected that there are 2 inverters in the system, and it's going to prompt us that there is a new VE bus system. We're going to go ahead and click next. It's going to ask for the password. You're going to want to get this from your point of sale, your Victron dealer. And once that is entered, it's going to let you know you need to prepare your system. We've already done that as I showed you in the first part of this video, so we can click next. It's going to search for all of the inverters, and in our case, it detected 2 inverters, as you can see by the icons here at the top. Now, we want to set these up as split phase 180 degrees. That's what's going to give us our 120/240 volt output power that we use here in North America. Go ahead and click next. And if you haven't already updated the firmware on the inverters, now is a good time to. I recommend just clicking the update button and let it do its thing. So that process took about 3 minutes. At this point, we can click continue now that the firmware is updated. Now we need to assign an inverter to L1. Now in a split phase system, it is not exactly the most important thing to pick one for L1 and L2. But if you're doing parallel systems, this is absolutely critical, but the scope of this video here is just for a 2-inverter split-phase system. Now this inverter is the one with the lights blinking back and forth, and I want to call this one L2, so this is going to be my red wire for a split-phase system. If it were this inverter blinking, I would probably make it L1. However, these are not yet wired in, as I mentioned. Again, this is not a wiring video, this is only programming. So I'm going to call this inverter phase L2 180. It's then going to auto-sense this other unit and assign it as L1, write the configuration, and then reset the system. At this point, you can see both inverters have turned into inverter on mode, and VictronConnect has prompted us that the VE bus system configuration has completed. So if we click Finish, it now goes back to the device list, but these inverters are set up for split phase. Now in that process, I did a firmware update. So if there were any settings pre-programmed into these inverters, they were just wiped. So from here, you would want to go into our other video that talks about how to program the multi-plus 2s, or whichever inverter. Now keep in mind, this video does apply to any of the Victron inverters, whether it's a multi-plus 1, multi-plus 2, or Quattro lineups. With that, something I always like to do is double check my voltages, so I can confirm on the output of the first inverter, I have 120. On the output of the second inverter, I also have 120. And between the two inverters, I have 240, which is what I want. So if this video helped you, be sure to leave a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And other than that, I thank you for choosing Current Connected for your Victron needs, and I hope to see you in the next video.